A peace plan that could end the war in Ukraine, economic issues, but also a shared difficult history. These were the topics of discussion between the presidents of Ukraine and Poland in Warsaw. Cooperation between our countries is set to continue developing. Thank you very much for the conversation about our economic cooperation, for the clear declarations regarding the participation of Polish entrepreneurs in the investment process, the process of rebuilding Ukraine after the peace we all hope for. According to the presidents, this peace may be enforced on war criminal Vladimir Putin by U.S. President Donald Trump. Ukraine, as a country with experience in defending itself against an aggressor, also has a proposal for Poland. Ukraine offers Poland consultations on protection against drones. We know how to defend ourselves against all types of drones that can be used. We also want to continue the dialogue with Poland on security, including the threat from Belarus. Polish President Karol Nawrocki also declared what he had already said during his visits to the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary, namely that Poland, which has an LNG terminal in Świnoujście, could be an energy hub for the countries of the region. This would make them independent of Russia. Poland has been supporting Ukraine for a long time. When Russia launched a full-scale aggression against our eastern neighbors, Poles rushed to their aid. To this day, there are about 2 million Ukrainians in Poland, and the financial, humanitarian, and military aid provided to Kiev amounts to almost 5% of our GDP. That is why the words of the president of Ukraine are so important. I would like to thank Poland very much for its very tangible support for Ukraine and Ukrainians since the beginning of the invasion. President Zelenskyy also emphasized that Polish support has been ongoing since 1991, when Ukraine regained its independence. We are united by a shared history that can still be an open wound, such as the genocide in Volhynia. Representatives of the Institute of National Remembrance from both Poland and Ukraine also took part in the meeting at the presidential palace, because during this meeting, the difficult but very important issue of the exhumation and dignified burial of the victims of Ukrainian nationalists was raised. I asked when we can expect real solutions in this matter. Real action is to be taken soon. The Polish side wants to speed up the work. The Ukrainian side is ready to meet this demand. These are not declarations. These are concrete actions that are ongoing. This is not just about symbols and gestures, but about real actions. We referred to 26 motions submitted by the Institute of National Remembrance. The president of the Institute of National Remembrance, Professor Polejowski, gave a speech to which the representative of the Ukrainian Institute of National Remembrance referred. And we agree with President Zelenskyy that all these formal issues, which have so far been an obstacle on the Ukrainian side, will be resolved. The issue of the genocide committed against Poles by the Ukrainian insurgent army is not only a topic that casts a shadow over our relations, but is also exploited by Kremlin propaganda. However, this declaration by the president of Ukraine is not the only effect of this visit. This visit by President Zelenskyy was extremely necessary. I think it was essential for President Zelenskyy because of the damage to his image as a result of the corruption scandal in his circle. On the other hand, it was important for Polish President Nawrocki because the scenario that the president had spoken about came true, that we were waiting in Warsaw for a guest from Ukraine. And indeed, a guest from Ukraine arrived. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy also met today with the Marshal of the Sejm, Włodzimierz Czarzasty, and Marshal of the Senate, Małgorzata Kidawa-Błońska. We stuck to the line of Polish foreign policy that we had agreed with the Polish government, but I think that what happened with President Nawrocki also stuck to that line. At the end of his visit, the Ukrainian president also met with Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk at the Chancellery of the Prime Minister.